Hello, Dahlia here, welcome to my channel. For those of you who wrote a story for Camp NaNoWriMo or plan to for Camp NaNoWriMo in June, how do you plan to end your novel? Did you mimic the other books in your genre, or did you go with the classic hero wins, villain is destroyed method? Today I'm outlining 4 ways you could end your novel. I'll be discussing spoilers for Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl, for Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, for Chuck Palahniuk's Fight Club, and for J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. If you haven't read these books and you don't want anything spoiled, then there will be timestamps below in the description bar, so let's get into it. Number 1 is open ending. An open ending is an unclear closing. Some authors like to have their readers question what happened to the characters. This is different though to an implied ending where the characters kind of have an ending. It's suggested that maybe this was the ending. An open ending is simply no ending. Authors like to implement this method to keep the reader guessing, or to have the reader focus on something like the elements or the themes rather than the actual story. This is not generally a popular method because readers tend to complain, feeling unsatisfied with the ending, but it is certainly effective. You can write an open ending simply by having the character's thoughts trail off or having it unclear who the real villain or hero was to your story. There are many methods to writing an open ending, but they seem to be the most popular. Just because open endings don't resolve potentially all conflict, that doesn't mean your story doesn't have an actual ending. Your reader must feel like they're satisfied with the ending, or perhaps even enthused with the story. They keep guessing what will happen or what had happened, or is there going to be a sequel, even though you as the author know that there's not going to be a sequel ever. One brilliant example of this is Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl. This story blew my mind, and to this day it still blows my mind. It is incredibly pathological. So when a woman goes missing, all eyes are on her husband. Little clues have been laid out to make him look like the clear suspect, like it's obvious. During the novel, the reader is presented clues that suggest that they're both guilty of something. And at the end of the story, the wife manipulates the husband into playing out this little scenario that she's created. What happens to the husband? Do the lies ever get revealed? Short answer is no. Gillian did end up rewriting the ending, I think. I heard that because her readers weren't really that satisfied, but I propose that ending should be lost in space forever because I love the actual ending to the book. Number 2 is tragic ending. A tragedy is when nothing seems to go right for the MC, or if something does, then something tragic follows soon after. Some authors like to use this method to show readers the reality of life, or to just amuse the readers. The tragedy ending must be set up through the entirety of the novel though. It can't just be kind of thrown in. And you do this by creating hurdles for your character to constantly have to jump over to actually get to something good, and just when that good thing is in their reach, they get pulled back from it, or perhaps they get that good thing for a small amount of time and it's ripped away. In order to effectively write a tragic ending, your character pretty much can't get to any of their goals, and they might even end up dying in the end. Either way, the story is completely unsuitable for the MC. Tragic endings may not be very popular, but they do have a cult following. And even though the MC may not have a good ending, that doesn't mean the entire novel has to be all doom and gloom. The good might happen in small doses to your MC or to the other characters in the story. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is a very good example for tragic ending. Victor does get to enjoy a majority of his life. He falls in love with his adopted cousin, and yes, he loses his mother, but he has a beautiful family unit and he's very happy. He's also very happy studying alchemy. But after one of his professors tells him that alchemy is a stupid thing to study and that he'll never get anywhere, he is persistent. He wants to study alchemy, and that's where it starts. He then creates a monstrosity. The wretch is a huge patchwork monster. Victor immediately recoils and seeks to destroy the poor thing, and in turn, the monster seeks to destroy his creator. Any moment of happiness that Victor actually gets in the novel is quickly overpowered by something really tragic. Most of the time, this is a death of someone very close to him. And after Victor's wife is brutally murdered by the monster, Victor goes in search of this creature to kill him. In the end, this leads them to a chase across the Arctic, and they both in turn end up dying. It's not clear whether the monster dies, but I think it's pretty obvious. It's more like an implied ending. Number 3 is twist ending. This is when you drop a bomb on your reader at the final stages of your book. They thought that they knew what was going on, they went through everything and thought, yep, I know exactly what's going to happen, and then bam, your denouement does a complete 360 and your reader is left standing there thinking, what actually just happened? Your reader then has no idea what's right or wrong, and they question every single thing they thought about the novel up until that point. Authors like to use this method to shock their reader or to set up for the next book. It is like the extreme cliffhanger. But please use with caution, because this ending can really unsettle a reader. Plot twists need a careful and subtle build-up. Don't give too many clues away, otherwise the reader's going to guess what's going to happen. You need to leave enough clues for them to be uncertain about what's happening. And a twist ending is not effective when it comes out of nowhere. Red herrings and foreshadowing are great tools to use when building up a twist ending. An example of this is Chuck Palahniuk's Fight Club, and pretty much any of his books. The narrator is down on his luck, but when a hippie pops into his life, it seems that all the problems start to disappear. Living with this Tyler Durden is chaotic fun. Drinking and fighting in their parking lot tends to satisfy their needs. And when they're not doing that, they tend to pee in the soups for the hotel that they are currently working at. But what starts off as small pranks turns into Project Mayhem. The members of Fight Club are assigned little homework missions that start off as something really basic and then ends up becoming something that's murder and pretty much damnation on the world. They turn into anarchists. And then Tyler's lover, Marla, she tells the narrator that his name is Tyler Durden. After freaking out a bit and trying to right all the wrongs that Tyler has set up, the narrator realizes that he must kill this guy. So at the top of a building, the narrator pulls the trigger of a gun in his mouth. Of course, not realizing that that's actually what's going on, because, plot twist, he's a schizophrenic. Later he wakes up in hospital and Tyler is gone, but the angels around him look suspiciously like the people from the Fight Club, and they don't come in peace. Tyler will forever live in Project Mayhem, and nothing is as it seems. And finally, number 4 is Crystal Ball. This means the reader is allowed a look into the future of the characters. This could be a week later or years later. Normally this is written as an epilogue, but sometimes the author just adds in a time jump and write it as the last chapter. Authors use this method to really round out a story and satisfy the reader. This method is also not too popular. I don't see it very commonly, but however, it is a great way to end your novel, and it's probably the most enjoyable out of the other 3 that I've talked about. And this ending is really easy to write. Basically think about where your characters will be 5 weeks from now or 10 years from now and write it. So long as it's actually relevant to the story, like say if your last chapter ended off in the threat is destroyed, everything is good, the reader's going to question whether everything's good. So in that epilogue or in that last chapter, you show that yes, 10 years down the track, everything is still good and the villain is still gone and everything's beautiful. A great popular example of this is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. The epilogue shows Harry, Ginny, Ron and Hermione taking their children to the train ready for Hogwarts. And this shows that Harry really did save the world from Voldemort and he's not coming back. And sometimes that's as simple as it needs to be. The reader's not going to question whether the antagonist is going to come back or if a new threat is going to arise, because you've clearly stated that no, this is the ending, everything is good now. But this can be a good or a bad thing. If you're writing a dystopian, you could say that it was like 1984, where by the end of the book, nothing has changed. If anything, everything is worse. And that's just the end of it. So that concludes this video. If you have any questions or want me to cover a specific topic, please drop a comment below. If you want to see my journey on other platforms, see the links in the description bar. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and so much more. I post videos on Thursdays and tags every other Wednesday, so subscribe and hit that little bell if you want to be notified. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Bye!